You're on.
I didn't hear the ding.
You're on. You're on.
Are you sure?
Yes, you're on. You're live. See this yellow button? It says that you're live.
Oh, there we go. See, this is so hokey we don't even know. Because we're live late night from Willowdale. Willowdale. It's like Pleasantville. I grew up in Willowdale. So that's why we love doing this from Willowdale.
Here, let me adjust the camera.
Oh yeah, you clearly need to adjust the camera. You know, the nice thing about this is kind of hokey and kind of silly, but you know what? Why not, right? Nothing has to be that professional. But yeah, that's where I grew up. I grew up in Willowdale, not too far from here. So we're on Willowdale Avenue, not too far from Finch, just at the east end of the Finch parking lot, the subway parking lot. Yeah, so Willowdale. Yeah, I like it because it's so sweet, right? You feel relaxed when you talk about Willowdale. It's like Pleasantville, you know. And anyways, that's where I grew up, and so I love doing these things from Clede's basement in Willowdale because why not? Anyways, it's late night from Willowdale. It's not. Anyways, Clede's in the background having a Werner's Gruner, a great German beer.
Not as good as Dab though.
Dab's good, but yeah. Anyways, so straighten up a bit. You look slouched.
Oh.
So tonight we're talking about deficits, and Justin Bieber, Trudeau, actually, in my opinion, said some good things this week, and I think he's gonna get some ground on this. Okay, whether Canada's in deficit or not, Harper said we're in surplus today, and whatever. It doesn't really matter. What is wrong with running a deficit if you can pump up the economy? Justin Bieber, Trudeau made some good points. Put money into infrastructure, put money into all sorts of things, transit. So you run a small deficit. What's wrong with running a small deficit? $10, $15 billion. No big deal. We're talking about the government of Canada. A multi-trillion-dollar economy. We can't run a small deficit. Every household, every person has deficits. They have car payments, they have mortgage payments, they have credit card payments. Everybody has a deficit. Most people have deficits. Why can't a huge government run a deficit? Whether it's the Ontario government, whether it's the federal government. Bizarre to me that there's this, oh my God, deficit. But I think a lot of people don't buy this whole anti-deficit thing anymore. I think a lot of people think, yeah, why not put money in things we need? Social programs, physical infrastructure like transit, highways, bridges, whatever. We need infrastructure in our society, and so building up the economy through deficit spending is a great idea. It's Keynesian. It's smart. There's no evidence to show that it really doesn't work.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
So in terms of U.S. bailouts in 2008 or all through 2008 coming forward with big U.S. banks and things like that, how does that compare to what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, no, the bailouts of the banks, there's a debate about that. But no question, I think, that stabilized the American economy. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question, the bailout of the banks, because they really didn't deserve it. But the collapse of the financial order probably wouldn't have been a good thing. So it was probably a good thing that people stepped in, just like they stepped in for the auto industry. Canada and the United States bailed out Detroit, and that's a good thing. And I think we've all benefited, certainly from the bailout of the auto industry, Canada, and the auto industry in the United States. Why we had to do that? Yes, and a lot of people have profited from the crisis that they created, no question. I mean, why we had to bail out Wall Street? It was done because what are you going to do, right? Like it's not right and it's not fair, but it was done. But that's a whole different issue from basic spending. Canada is technically in a recession, not majorly so. This isn't Greece. This isn't any major crisis. The Canadian economy is doing pretty good, despite the fall in oil prices. As you mentioned, they're still hiring in the oil sands. There's still stuff going on. Canada is not in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing wrong with a little deficit spending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Harperian forces made a big mistake by reducing the GST to 5%.
Mm-hmm.
We really did need that revenue. And I know sales taxes are kind of regressive. I get it. But we kind of needed that tax revenue. And by cutting that and also cutting corporate taxes, which they've done, because Canada has some of the lowest corporate taxes in the world, which is ridiculous, really, when you think about it, because people can afford to pay more, especially a lot of these big companies. We ran into a problem now where we are in a deficit scenario in the federal government, despite what they said today about, oh, we're in surplus. Well, yeah, it doesn't really matter. They inherited a big surplus from the Paul Martin government, and they blew it away. So ill-conceived tax cuts like the GST tax cut and corporate tax cuts, they blew away all that revenue. Anyways, we're gonna ramble here, but deficits are good. As long as you can manage them, I think deficits are good. Nothing wrong with a huge economy like Canada's or province of Ontario running deficits. There's nothing wrong with that. Like it's Keynesian economics and it works.
So where
pump money into projects that will benefit society. Okay, Don't pump money into the Olympics. Forget that. That doesn't benefit anyone. We've had that discussion. Pump money into basic infrastructure spending, transit, highways, road, bridge construction, improving our airports, pump basic money into our economy and social programs, obviously, building affordable housing. That all pumps money in the economy. That's a good thing. And if you have to run a deficit to do it, why not? Everyone benefits. And, everyone made fun of Justin Bieber, Trudeau, by saying, oh, the budget will balance itself. But, when the economy grows, the budget will balance itself. This is the nature of what happens when the economy grows. Yes, and people made fun of him, but, he's actually right. The economy will grow. The budget will balance itself if the economy grows. So everyone makes fun of Justin Bieber, Trudeau, and he is a bit of a flake.
Well, even you have.
And I do. I still call him Justin Bieber. Trudeau. But he made some good this week. Good for him. Running deficits to build our economy, to build our infrastructure, to build our society, whether it's through childcare, whether it's through, whether it's through childcare or building basic infrastructure, transit, highways, airports, whatever. That's a good thing. And yes, the budget will balance itself when the economy grows. So everyone made fun of him, but he's right on. Basic Keynesian economics does work. Now, people always say, well, Bob Rae tried to do that in 1990-91.
Is that the same as trickle-down economics?
No, that's not trickle-down economics.
Oh.
That's a whole different peg.
That's feeding the rich to sort of...
That's basically, giving tax cuts to the rich and they'll benefit everyone. That's what Reagan tried to do, and it didn't work.
Oh, okay.
Reagan was not a good economic manager.
Right.
And,
But is there a trickle-down effect?
No, not at all.
Giving
tax breaks to the wealthy never works. They just hide it away.
Okay.
In many different ways. It doesn't benefit society.
Right.
That's a whole different argument.
Right.
Bob Rae in 1990-91, Ontario, he inherited, everyone's talking now about an NDP majority government in Ottawa, and we talk about what happened in Alberta. Bob Rae inherited a bad fiscal situation in a bad recession, and he tried to spend his way out of it. And it was, my good friend Mel Watkins, one of the great political economists, used to teach at University of Toronto. It's told me, he said he advised Bob Rae, spend your way out of it. Run a major deficit, and we'll see, and we'll probably be able to, the economy will start to improve. Well, it didn't work. Don't get me wrong, Mel wasn't wrong and Bob Rae wasn't wrong. The problem is it took a while, because when 1995 arrived and Mike Harris took power, the economy, it took 4 years, but it didn't help Bob Rae or the NDP government. But they made the right choice. They made the right choice not to cut massively, destroy the civil service, and do all the things that Harris eventually did.
Time.
Yeah, we're running out of time because we said we're going to make this a short video. But and the in Bob Ray, of course, there was the whole fight with the civil service and putting caps on wages, and there was the teacher strikes and all that, and it got everyone angry at him. The left, the right already hated him. We already been that in a few previous videos.
And this was Bob Ray.
Yeah. It didn't work for him. Nothing worked for Bob Ray. Okay, and he actually ran a pretty good government during a pretty tough time. And but he, eventually when the deficit spending didn't work, he did try to put caps on wages, and there was the whole freeze on wages in the civil service and for teachers, and there was the Ray days, and it didn't work for him. So eventually everyone hated him. So he did try the deficit spending route, but the problem is the economy didn't grow. It took a number of years. But in 1995, when he was defeated, the economy was getting better, and Mike Harris inherited a better economy. So, yeah. Anyways, we're going on about deficit spending.
So what did Mike Harris do?
Well, then Mike Harris continued. He got even worse and brought in all these austerity measures and everything, which helped nobody. And to me, Bob Ray was the end of the golden years in Ontario. Frankly, the Leslie Frost, John Robarts, Bill Davis, even David Peterson, the golden years in Ontario, the red Tory sort of rule where we built things in Ontario. Don't forget, under Bob Ray, we would have had a subway to York University, would have had the Eglinton West line, probably going all the way to the airport. We would have had the Shepherd line built, maybe going farther than it does. I mean, it's so silly, it only goes to Don Mills, so at least you go out to Victoria Park. We would have had all these things done under the Ray government because they believed in putting money into transit. It was all defeated, and what do we get? A truncated Shepherd line. So people always say the Ray government was a failed government, but it wasn't. And they did try deficit spending, and it was a good idea. And my friend Mel Watkins did advise them correctly to do that. It's just that the economy was in such a bad shape. It took a while. But by 1995, when Mike Harris took power, the economy was improving, and he inherited a better situation. And of course, then we all know what happened after that. So anyway, they're not going to go on that, but deficit spending is good. Justin Bieber, Trudeau has got it right. Put money into the economy, pump money into the economy, and it'll work. You can't run major deficits, but Canada's not Greece. This is a huge country it's a $1 trillion economy. Like, God, we can afford to run a $10 billion deficit. And forget what the Harperian forces say. This is horrible. They blew it. They were not good managers of the economy. They did not see what was coming in the oil industry. They were caught off guard. So, how can, and this whole idea that the Justin Bieber, Trudeau is not ready is a joke. Nobody's ready to be prime minister. I've said this before. Stephen Harper never even traveled outside of Canada. He had hardly been outside of Canada at all. And now he's one of the most traveled prime ministers. But he wasn't ready to be prime minister. He had no experience. He was just he was head of a right-wing nutty group called the National Citizens Coalition. He wasn't ready to be prime minister. Nobody's really ready. Was Barack Obama ready to be president of the United States? Are you kidding? He was a social worker in Chicago.
Who?
Yeah, Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Remember that guy? Who was, now president of the United States?
Who?
Exactly.
The most powerful man in the world.
The most powerful man in the world. He wasn't ready to be president. Nobody's ready for the top job. So it's so silly when they run those ads. Now, going back to the NDP, Thomas Mulcair thinks that we have to run balanced budgets. He's appealing to the right. They're leading in the polls. It looks, as we stand now, it looks like they could form government in October. They say majority, but we're still like a long ways out.
Time. But
the NDP moving to the right is not a good thing. Look what happened to Andrea Horwath in Ontario. A lot of people abandoned the NDP and voted for Kathleen Wynne, who they saw as the most. And I can see this happening with Justin Bieber.
So can I ask the question? What's the whole dealie with like what, like how do you define neoliberalism? Like what is that?
Well, neoliberalism and neoconservatives are very odd terms because they sort of, in a sense, are the same. They talk about low taxes, basically freedom of corporations to do whatever they want, and it's austerity, and basically it's low-income people that pick up the tab. So now let me go back to this thing, because you're right, we're on a time thing here. I don't like this idea of the dwelling on the middle class. There are most people aren't in a good chunk of society isn't in the middle class. They're lower class. They're working at McDonald's, they're working at KFC. They're making minimum wage, $11 an hour. People are poor. They're in the lower class. They don't have cottages in Muskoka. They don't travel to the Mayan Riviera in the winter. They're poor. They're the lower class. What are we doing for lower income people? We're doing nothing. It's all about the middle class. It's kind of a stupid term. Like, how about talking about, because a good chunk of Canadians are low income Canadians. So let's do something for low income Canadians and not just worry about the middle class. It's kind of I hate that.
That's what you got to deal with, though. Like, I mean,
yeah, but it's all crap, right? Like,
well, most of it is.
So, anyways, the bottom line is Justin Bieber Trudeau is on the right track here with deficit spending. And he's got to stop talking about just helping the middle class. He's got to stop talking. He's got to start talking about helping lower income people as well. And the NDP is going to make a mistake if it moves to the right, because especially if Justin Bieber is moving to the left, it's going to take votes from the NDP, because a lot of people don't like this move to the right. And Charles Tupper will care. He always call Charles Tupper care because he looks like he was at the 1864 Charlottetown Conference. He's got to be worried about this left flank, because some people will say, "Screw that! I'm going to vote for Justin Bieber because he's right. Running a deficit is not a bad thing." The NDP wants to move to the right. They're going to see what happened to Andrea Horwath in Ontario. Let the Conservatives dominate the right. And the Conservative campaign is somewhat disintegrating, no question. Everyone sees it. People want to change. They're tired of him. They're tired of this nutty right-wing politics. And yeah, there's so many things we go on about that. So, anyways, deficit spending is good. Just read Paul Krugman's articles in the New York Times. Keynesian economics is good, and yeah, austerity doesn't work, and what they're trying to impose on Greece will never work. And the facts are there. The facts are there. Putting money into the economy will work. It's certainly targeted money into certainly things that we need: social spending, affordable housing, basic infrastructure like transit. Anyways, just because it's got more over time and everyone's getting bored anyways, but this latest outrage in the U.S., like I said before, right? The country hasn't gone through the Enlightenment. Gun control, they don't want gun control. Remember, U.S. gun laws go back to the birth of their country in 1776 when they're fighting the British and worried about it,
the King of England can march in here.
Yeah, exactly. Worrying about the King of England will remarch in, and our countries. That's why militias, everyone can arm themselves. Their laws go back to that. But come on, modernize your laws. It's 1976. It's not 1776. It's 2015. Britain is not going to invade the United States, whether through Canada or whatever. It's not going to happen,
though, right? Like, so
you don't have a right to own a gun. Modernize your constitution. Other countries modernize the Constitution. Canada modernizes Constitution. Modernize your Constitution. You should not have a right to own a gun. Look at these outrages happen nowhere else in the world, okay, other than the United States, and they happen constantly, and nobody seems to care. Like I said in my videos and my letters, the United States in many ways a failed state. You got to go back to 1776 and say, okay, this doesn't work anymore. We don't need to have guns. The Brits aren't going to invade. Canada's not going to invade. Nobody's going to invade us. We're the most powerful country on the planet Earth. We don't need militias. We don't need to be armed. Oh, God. Crazy. It happens. What a nutty country. Like, like I said, this country still needs to go through the Enlightenment. It's still living in a dark age. Anyway, it's okay. Go on.
The United States will become the police of the world, much to their detriment, and that's why I think Slavoj Žižek feels very sorry for them. They will become the world police, and while all these other countries
already are the world police.
They already are, but while all these other countries are profiting from the capitalist sort of implementations of capitalism in their regimes, the United States is going to be unfortunately left behind.
Well, this is the country that still has the most powerful military in the world.
Yeah,
it's so powerful; it's beyond the scale. It has.
Well, it's almost like people let them do their dirty work for them. Right?
Oh my God! Like it's just. Anyways, we're not going to go into that because we're already
Anyway, everybody listen to Slavoj Žižek.
So he's a big fan of Slavoj Žižek. Whatever. This latest outrage in the U.S. just goes on. They need serious gun control. It's not going to happen. But you kind of wonder, what kind of a country is this? And and one more point I was going to make was. There's been a little quiet talking about the Olympics. There's a lot of people thinking, do we really want this? The Wall Street Journal even had a really good editorial the other day praising Boston, really going there. So don't even go there. What a waste of money. What a waste of taxpayers' dollars. Don't even bid. Thank God they said basically, thank you, Boston, for not even going there. What an absolute waste of taxpayers' dollars. No city in the world has ever gone through the Olympics without massive cost overruns, and the taxpayers always pick up the tab. Okay, so everyone knows the Blue Jays are doing well. There's a recent piece in the Globe and Mail that said the Blue Jays' success, the recent Blue Jays' successes, contributed far more to the Toronto economy than the Pan Am Games ever did. Far more businesses in the downtown core are benefiting. And as I've said previously, the Blue Jays are a subsidized team too, right? Because Rogers got the whole thing for a song. $600 million is spent on the Sky Dome, and they got it for $25 million. So the Blue Jays will always be a subsidized team, but that's beer under the proverbial bridge, overpriced beer under the proverbial bridge. Yes, the Blue Jays' success has contributed far more to the economy of downtown Toronto than the Pan Am Games ever did. So there you go. That says it all, right? So let's stick with what we have. We'll keep the Blue Jays. We'll keep all that. Let's not go for the Olympics.
Aren't they using a lot of the Olympic, like for the Pan Am Games, aren't they using a lot of the old infrastructure for community benefits now? Like, I mean,
I don't know, man, what they're going to use some of that stuff.
Well, not what they're going to do, but what they have with community pools and stuff.
In Athens, all this stuff they built is now the ruins. Is now they're on the. It's like the Acropolis. It's on the tour of ruins. None of this stuff. The Bird's Nest in Beijing. I don't need to go on. Everybody knows. It's been in the media a lot. Every time you Montreal, most famous, the Velodrome, the best cycling facility ever built for Olympic Games is now a biodome. It's it has nothing to do with cycling anymore. So we get it. The Big O, right? Everyone knows the Olympic Stadium. The most gorgeous structure on planet Earth. I still think one of the great architectural structures. Gorgeous, but useless, really. At least I have to say, I got to give credit. At least the Rogers Center Sky Dome is used. The roof still comes back and forth, and it works and all that stuff. And the Blue Jays use it, and the auto show uses it and all that stuff. But yeah, nobody benefits from the Olympics, and most of them are unused facilities, and they just create tumbleweeds. So everybody knows that, and that wasn't supposed to be. But yes, that's the thing. Talk about deficit spending. That's not an infrastructure spending I want to spend money on in the Olympics, because that benefits nobody. Spend it. Justin Bieber is right. Justin Bieber, Trudeau. We need needs in our society. Bridges are falling down in Montreal. We have transit infrastructure projects all across this country. Highways, railways, you name it. Airport upgrades, and of course, social housing. School stock. I told you this in the last video, right? Toronto District School Board says it'll be $3.5 billion to upgrade the school stock in Toronto. So lots of things need to be done. Anyways, now we're way over limit.
Oh God.
I know, and everyone's going to be. Now. Really? Is it
half an hour? Yeah.
Oh God, I hope people aren't. Don't be irritated, please. You don't have to.
It's just late night.
Late. But yeah, deficits are good if they benefit society. And Justin Bieber, Trudeau made some good points, and I think he'll take votes away from the NDP on this. And I think Thomas Mulcair's move to the right, move to the fiscal right, is wrong. And
I think we're still looking at an NDP government, though.
You will see. But Mulcair has moved to the right, and I know he had some nice things to say about Margaret Thatcher too in a little video that's circulating.
I'll edit that in.
Yeah, but we don't want to go there. All right. So you make a mistake, Thomas Mulcair, by moving to the right. Look at Andrea Horvath. It's not going to work. Okay, Cleve, shut this down. People are pissed off and
they're tired.
Tired.